What helps us define ourselves as individuals? How is it that we create our own identity and view the identity of others? More often than not, we rely on pop culture and its support from media to develop ourselves. We live in a society where media and pop culture are a huge part of our everyday lives. Pop culture contributes to the formation of our values and interests. We use these ideas to create ourselves as individuals. The media plays a large role in pop culture as it enforces these standards and ideas. Together, media and pop culture present us with representations and identities for all groups of people. Now, these representations, however, are not always accurate and can end up being quite racist. These depictions are often how stereotypes are formed. One group of people who seem to be in a constant struggle with racist representations are those of Native American descent. Racist media occurs every day. Whether it is through images, written word, or spoken, it is something we have become accustomed to. These racist remarks and images have come to create the way we view certain people. For Native Americans, sports media has caused a huge impact on the way that they are viewed in society. Allowing sports teams to have Indian mascots has created a mockery of Native American culture as well as its traditions. Mascots such as the Chief Illiniwek of the University of Illinois have been criticized on numerous occasions for their inaccurate display of Indian culture. The way that they are dressed, as well as their quote-unquote tribal dance routines, are considered completely phony, and in fact, many Native Americans feel this is an attack on their traditions.
American Indian activists, we have songs that are characterized through the drum beat. An American Indian drum beat is like a heart, like this. Can you hear that? Like that. Can you understand? That's your heart. Like your heart. You guys play this. Boom, 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 like that. See? That's Hollywood. That's the Hollywood interpretation of something that's really important to us.
We believe that they very innocently and very sincerely believe that they're really honoring us. It's what happens when you have these mascots and these names, when it triggers all the other ridiculous antics which demean, degrade, and belittle a living people's culture and spiritual way of life.
When you see yourself mimicked, that undermines your self-esteem. When you see images that represent who you are.
As we are told by Michael Haney in the last clip, these images and interpretations we are getting of Native Americans and their traditions are quite Hollywoodized. We are used to seeing the savage Indians represented in Hollywood films, and recognize the same drumbeat that is associated with Native American culture. We only see certain images because of the way media portrays things, so for the most part we do not know the true culture of Native Americans. Other schools, such as the Florida State Seminoles and the Atlanta Braves have developed and used the tomahawk chop. This arm gesture was supposed to signify the use of a tomahawk to slaughter the Indians' prey, and in the case of a sporting event, the opposing team. This has also been considered a contributing factor to the bad name that has been spelled out for Native Americans. Some teams have blatantly offensive names, such as the Washington Redskins. This term is just as derogatory as using the N-word to refer to a black person, or chink to refer to an Asian, or even to a certain extent calling a white person a honky or a Mr. Charlie. One of the largest contributors to racist media, however, is not within the images or dances. Rather, it is the type of vocabulary and terminology used to describe these teams. Words such as savages and slaughter are used to describe the sporting events with Indian mascots. The shredding, tearing, and massacring of teams are emphasized by sports writers and commentators. By using these words, they are building stereotypes and making Native Americans out to be these violent and irrational individuals. In his argument regarding racist media, theorist Stuart Hall discusses the base image of what is referred to as Native. He continues to discuss the negative portrayal of Native Americans and how it emphasizes their barbarianism and cheating and conniving ways. Television shows and film have helped to bolster these images and supposed way of Native American people. This continues to build the stereotypes that we see and use in everyday life. Richard Dyer, another media and communications theorist, touched upon the role and usage of these stereotypes in his argument. He discussed the coining of the term stereotype by Walter Lippmann, and how we have strayed so far from his initial intent for the word. Stereotypes were intended to create a form of ordering and a shortcut that would help us refer to the world. This idea that Lippmann had hoped for has become completely misconstrued and has gone in the complete opposite direction. Media has taken over, and people are now ordered and characterized by their faults, and are mocked, thus turning the connotation of the word stereotype to a negative one. Media, in fact, is creating and endorsing these stereotypes. Why is it that this racist media continues to occur? Some believe that it is just so ingrained in our society that things will never change. Others believe that it is because the media has gone to such great lengths to attempt to normalize these Native American mascots and make people believe that these teams and mascots are social objects that they can consume. They lose their identity and become another part of the consumer market and a way to make profits through jersey and memorabilia sales. The most interesting reason I have found, however, is that many believe the reason racist media remains is due to a desire to maintain social and racial hierarchy. Media coverage recycles these stereotypical images of Native people to perpetuate these ideas of racial superiority. These representations show a lot about the unequal position American Indians hold in contemporary U.S. society. These stereotypes and images that we see are what continue to deny Native American cultural acceptance and quote-unquote citizenship. Why do we allow this to occur is a better question. We have become so wrapped up in pop culture and the way the media portrays it that we do not understand that we may be offending certain groups of people. People are always going to be driven to what is popular, so until we are able to eliminate the stereotypes or the malicious intent behind stereotypes, we will continue to have this problem. Prior to researching for this project, I too had been caught up in the media frenzy. I had no problem with Native American mascots. I have been an athlete my entire life and have participated with and against teams that have had a Native American Indian as their mascot. The mascot was just another name to me, and I saw no reason as to why people should take any offense. As an athlete and fan, I saw things one way, but after doing my research in my field of study and listening to the Native American people discuss how it affected them, I realized how wrong I was for making that assumption. I personally am lucky enough to have both perspectives, as an athlete and a scholar, to help me decipher what I feel is right and wrong in this situation. We as a culture are far too accepting of racist media. Ultimately, it can be agreed that in order to alleviate this problem, we must terminate these mascots completely, or attempt to change the way that media looks upon and advertises the Native American culture. In a culture where we all claim to be so equal, there seems to be an awful lot of stereotyping and racism. Until Native Americans are valued and shown proper representations in the media, we will continue to have these problems.